You guys, I would like to introduce you to Britt. She's mainmouse.co. She has her own company. She makes Disneyland ears. They're so cute. Like
Oh,
she has chronic illness. She has fibromyalgia. Brittney, do you mind sharing a little bit of like your journey?
um, maybe ask me a question because I am not good at just talking.
Okay. When were you diagnosed with fibromyalgia?
On during pandemic time, actually,
Oh,
2020, like the ending of 2020.
wow. That must have been real difficult during that time.
Oh, it was horrible because couldn't do anything, just being stuck at home, and it was really hard getting appointments because everything was really bad at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
it took them a while to kind of diagnose me with fibromyalgia. So I had been dealing with like pain since like the beginning of like the whole pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
then by the end of the year, that's when I got diagnosed.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. And your symptoms, how are they? Because yeah, I hear that it's brutal. It goes, it's varies different day by day.
Yeah, yeah. Most of the days, I don't want to get up or
Mm-hmm.
out of
Yeah.
bed, but I feel like it's something I have to force myself to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's not easy, but I try to kind of be a positive person either way because I feel like it's such a negative thing, like what I'm always feeling, like with being pain. It feels like your body's being crushed like 24/7. So even like with so much um, information out there about that, there's really not a cure for it or medication to even help out for it. So I think that my doctors told me that when it's diagnosed in adulthood, it's worse because at least like when you have symptoms when you're younger, they can detect it sooner. But there's other people who just get it out of nowhere. So mine's was like that. My pain got just erupted out of nowhere and was to the point where I couldn't even breathe because it just felt like everything was being crushed.
Wow. So sorry.
Yeah, well, sorry for you too.
Thank you. We are all in this together. And that's part of why TikTok, I felt like I found something. We all found this great community that brought us together, whether it's MS in general, chronic illness. I think a lot of the chronic illness suffer from chronic fatigue. That's one thing we have in common for sure.
Well,
It's like,
because the pain drains your body out.
mm-hmm,
So your body's constantly on like a fight mode. So all of that stress in your body makes your body just kind of feel burnt out because you're just trying to survive each day and each day's different,
mm-hmm.
but I think that your body it's just trying to hold on to what you're feeling in that moment also. And so it becomes draining even mentally. It affects you.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question. If you can give a message out to the able people that have no idea what fibromyalgia is like, how would you describe that? And what would you like for them to be aware of when they come across yourself or people that have fibromyalgia or chronic illness? What would you like for them to like kind of, be empathetic, or what would you like them to know?
Well, I feel that a lot of the times with chronic illness, you can't really see it because, or they'll say, like, oh, you look normal, or you're too young, or, it's in your head. Even you're getting told this by doctors, oh, it's in your head. Like, you'll be fine. but then
Mhm.
internally, you know, like, no, this is not right. Like, this doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
And, you know, always trust your gut, because even professionals can brush you off. And I've had that so
Mhm.
many times happen to me, you know. And I think that, like, if you do suffer from chronic illness, like, be an advocate for yourself. Like, don't let nobody
Mhm.
tell you, you know, it's in your head or you're making things up, because only you know how that feels, you
Mhm.
know. And I would just say, like, if you have a family or a friend who's going through something, like, believe them. And if you don't understand it, there's so much information about it to help you understand it, and, you know, to guide you to understand and be sympathetic towards that person, because it's not easy. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
these chronic illnesses, like I said, they probably won't believe you because we try to mask it for ourselves. And, you know, because we try to stay strong. But in doing so, people are like, oh, well, this person's doing that. This person's doing this. You know, that person, how can they have what they have if they're here, if they're there, or if they had makeup? You know, and it's like, okay, but what do you want it to do, to be depressed all day? Like, no, you gotta keep going. You know, and I think our ways of always coping with things, I realize it's always laughing and joking.
Oh my god. So yeah, Britt, like it's awareness for invisible disease. Like just
Mhm.
because I don't look it, doesn't mean I'm not inside, I'm not suffering. You know, so I
Mhm.
applaud you. How did you get into making your Disney ears?
I think just because I've always had a love for Disney, but I've always had a passion for art. So it's just like mixing those two things together. Um, I was like, let's just do this. And it started like in 2019, but then when like pandemic hit, um, I was like, you know what? I don't have nothing to do. Like, what am I gonna do? So I threw myself completely into my art, and yeah, that's how it
That's a,
started.
that's amazing. Do you sew? Like you sew not just the ears, but you sew in general? Like do you make clothing and things like that?
Um, so that's an interesting question. My mom actually taught me how to sew when I was like 5.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
so I think I've always had this like, I don't know, like, curiosity of like how she made things, because like she would make us our clothing by hand, you know, and then like she taught us too.
That's awesome. I like to hear that. And are you married or have kids or?
No, I just have
Uh,
my dog, my service
That's
dog.
your kid. That's your kid.
She's my daughter.
Yes. I know.
That's the
I've seen
best
pictures.
children are dogs
I know. I tell my mom,
and
Mom, this
cats.
is your granddaughter.
Yes. That's amazing. I love that for you. And okay, you are single. How old are
Uh-huh.
you?
I'm 36.
Okay. Would you date someone that has chronic illness or no?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, because I understand completely what that is. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't mind.
Okay, just putting it out
Claudia.
there. just put just putting it out there because I think it's important. It's one of my many goals that I like to connect
She likes to
people.
play Cupid.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Like with chronic illness, disability type of community, I feel like we can find love here. It can happen because there's nothing like someone um it's a harsh industry out there, like the single dating life from what I hear. And it's scary. It's real scary,
Hmm.
you know? So and when you meet someone that knows what you're going through, I feel like there's that bond. There's a special bond. So
Yeah.
yeah. So just putting it out there, good thing. Thank you so much, Brit, for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
And if people want to find you other than TikTok, if it's gone away, how can they find you on Instagram?
Instagram is my same name, Main Mouse Co.
Okay, Main Mouse Co. Okay, sounds good.